What are the craziest conspiracy theories you've ever heard of? That chapstick comes in a tube, so it will roll away, and you lose it, having to buy more. Onto you big chapstick. I have a theory that chapstick makes your lips more chapped in the long run, so you buy more. I've stopped using it a long time, and have rarely had chapped lips since. How do you work through that time period after not using chapstick, when your lips are chapped? I get severely dry lips, and they peel so much. They bleed sometimes. I've used it for years now, and I don't know how to stop using it, because of how badly they peel. The Phantom Time Hypothesis. Basically to legitimize his claim to the throne of the Holy Roman Empire, Emperor Otto III forged the entire history of Europe from around 600 to 900 AD, and his fictional version of history is the one we believe to be real today. Harabutalik never disappoints. I met this old hippie one night at the bar, who gave me a 20-minute lecture on how Elvis is still alive and living on the moon. I entertained him because he was buying whiskey shots, but duck me, he could speak some bullshit. I had a friend in the 90s who was convinced Elvis was still alive. According to her, Conway Twitty, country music singer, had a room in his house that was always locked, and even his housekeepers weren't allowed in to clean. She was convinced that Elvis faked his death and was living in this room. I heard Elvis became a line cook at a diner in Iowa. That the government controls all of the weather by a complicated array of antennas and satellites in a remote Alaskan town. If you are interested, look up Harp, and I'm sorry for the hours you will lose. That's the one with the island emitting sound 4 kilometers around it, isn't it? People far away can hear this pulsing bass even inside their house. There is nothing on the island the sound is supposed to be coming from. That Disney made the movie Frozen, so that when you search for Disney Frozen, it turns up the movie and nothing about Walt Disney himself being cryogenically preserved. That seems like a gigantic waste of $150 million just to hide a conspiracy about a dead guy being frozen. I don't think Disney even gives a rat's ass about that. I think they'd be more inclined to cover up other things. Like Song of the South. So last year I did the John Moo Trail, and on our way to Yosemite our bus driver, upon learning we were from Michigan, asked us if we had ever heard of the Dog Man. Evidently it's a Michigan legend. Of course we hadn't, so he proceeded to spend 2 hours telling us all about how there was, in fact, a race of bipedal wolf humanoids that live in the deep woods and are extremely dangerous, stating that the government is covering up their existence so they can sell more park permits. The highlight of his rambling was when he asked us, how can you possibly believe in dinosaurs but not believe in Dog Man? I honestly had no words. The state government of Massachusetts basically denies the fact that mountain lions have re-emerged in parts of the state because they don't want to have to deal with suburbanites freaking out about a mostly harmless animal. So I can kind of buy into the Wolfman theory. I worked in a park that supposedly had a pair of corgis, but the DNR denied it because it would be a big expensive deal to protect them. 9/11 never happened and was a mostly CGI animated film made by James Cameron to test the realism of the technology on the public before he started using it on Avatar. Source: meth head who talked to me for nearly an hour when I was working at Walmart. I think that meth head was onto something. Wait, no. On something. Probably meth. Meth he stole from Tresh Tog the Orc. There's a secret cannibalism restaurant in LA, and if you get in they have pictures and a list of celebrities with preferences as to how each celebrity likes their human. I like a good conspiracy theory, but this one is a little out there for my taste. This would make a great Netflix series. Or at least an episode of Black Mirror. The President of the United States, Queen Elizabeth II, the Clintons, Bill and Hillary, etc. are all shape-shifting lizard people. At that point everyone is an alien. The Stranger Danger campaign intentionally misled families into misplacing their fears of their children being kidnapped by a stranger in a van to protect the American family unit. Most crimes against children are perpetrated by a person who knows them well and the child is comfortable with. but pointing this out would cause too much distrust of family members, lead to the breakdown of family ties. I'm not saying I believe it, but this one isn't near as implausible as some of the others on this list. Bread is a hoax invented by bread companies to sell more bread. It's just crackers that were inflated by air. When I buy tires and balloons, I always have to demand they give them to me uninflated. I'm not paying for air. Thank you very much. Same thing with my diving instructor. Guy tried to literally sell me air. I told him off right then and there and showed everyone how huge a scam it was. Little did they know, I'd detached the air from a random man's suit at the diving instructor place, and that man was having a lovely rest at the bottom of the pool. I've never seen anything so tranquil. That Stanley Kubrick was hired to fake the moon landing. But being the perfectionist he was, he insisted on shooting on location. This made the moon landing 5x as expensive, as they had to launch an entire film crew and build a studio on the moon. Actually, the moon landing was faked and filmed on Mars. This is big brain time. Fake virus being caused by 5G towers. Fake virus is actually a cover-up for Donald Trump arresting all the pedophiles. Bill Gates is only funding the vaccine because it'll make all the children of the world much sexier and will help boost his pedophile society living in our precious sewers. I posted this on a different comment, but maybe you guys can help me out here. Around 5-7 years ago, orchid plants started being sold in droves to seemingly every floral area of every grocery store in America. I'm talking big white orchids, little purple mini orchids, ugly brown orchids, orchids in every color and size, and sometimes even orchids that don't look like orchids. America is rotten with goddamn orchids. Once thought to be a particularly exotic and expensive plant, now they are cheaper than most succulents and they take up all the shelf space. Who is buying these orchids? Sure, we've all tried our hands at orchid owning, and within a couple weeks no more flowers, no matter how many damn ice cubes you've put in the soil. I don't see any of those grocery store orchids in my friends' homes. Not at any office. Not even in restaurants. What the duck is going on with these orchids? So okay, orchids in large numbers, what is the conspiracy? I wish I knew. I'm asking Reddit to help me make up some unreasonable reason for the grocery store orchids. They are produced cheaply on an industrial scale to take up shelf space that could be used by plants people actually buy. This creates an artificial scarcity in the plants people actually buy, and therefore increases the price for those other plants, and therefore profits for the growers of those plants. That's my conspiracy theory, and I'm sticking with it. Maybe, but I'm pretty sure Big Shelf is underneath it all. I once worked with a photographer who, in between shoots, told me at length how the ancient Egyptians mastered interdimensional space travel. How Mick Jagger was a spirit cooking devil that fed off the energy of sacrificed children, and that he, the photographer, had been a priest who had been burned at the stake in a previous life. Yeah, he was kind of a weird guy. Why is it that these people are always important people who died in extraordinary ways? Yeah, exactly. Not just a random farmer in 1215 who got kicked by a horse, lol. The moon is actually super close to the earth, but the size of a potato. So that makes us the size of ants then. What 11th dimensional thinking does a person need to come up with that? Just gotta get high and look up and move your head side to side and reach for the moon. How come no one posted the Avril Lavigne one yet? Because that one is real. Duh. She got Lyme disease. She's not like her old self. Gender was invented by bathroom companies to sell more bathrooms. I'm so progressive I have a gender neutral bathroom in my house. I'm so progressive I only shit in rich people's gardens. The moon is a hologram. So are all the planets. But why stop there? The earth is a pancake. The moon is a holographic giant cheese made by a scientist with a fetish for holes. There are trillions of planets out there, but every single one of them is actually part of a giant game of marbles made by aliens. You're now moderator of r/conspiracy. DMT connects you to a different dimension, and that's where demons/aliens are. Past societies that started taking this drug, like the Aztecs, started talking to these demons/aliens and created cool stuff, but then started sacrificing people. Some say the governor experimented with DMT at the same time as the LSD experiments and it went good, so they are still talking to them aliens, bro. You should watch the Banshee chapter. Masterpiece of a Lovecraftian horror movie playing with this idea, tying it to culture and shit. Probably the scariest movie out there, mo. Got some damn good acting for the budget too. Absolutely underrated film. One of my favorite found footage horror gems. I knew a guy who swore that Teletubbies was some CIA mind control shit, and that after enough time, we'd all be like Jason Bourne. I don't even know what to say about that one. It's awesome. The government faked the Sandy Hook shootings and nobody died. This one angers me. Imagine being one of the parents who lost a child and hearing some mouth-breathing oaf say that it didn't happen. Have you heard of Holocaust denial? Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily Reddit videos.